Well, we're here at the Green Room, which is JB's co-working space, and I have one of the founders of it, Mike, over here with me. And Mike, I'd love you, could you perhaps start off by just introducing yourself?
Hello, Jessie.
Hi.
Yeah, sure. I'm Michael. I'm originally South African, studied in South Africa, but then had a curiosity to go abroad and see the world, which I did, mostly in a corporate environment.
Yeah.
Somehow one thing led to the other, and I found myself working in Angola,
wow.
in Central Africa, and found myself building the first co-working space in Angola.
In Angola?
In Angola, yeah.
Why Angola? Of all places in the world.
It's an interesting place. There's no shortage of adventure in Angola. And that was quite appealing to me. So started building the first co-working space in Angola, first co-working community, grew there, and it was really energizing for me. I really enjoyed it. 5 years later, I found myself in Jeffreys Bay, which, as many people know, it's a surfing mecca, and there's no co-working space in Jeffreys Bay. So through complete coincidence, we stumbled across this beautiful building, which is much too big for a co-working space in Jeffreys Bay, but we thought we'd take up the challenge. So that's a bit of background on how I found myself here in Jeffreys Bay.
Wow. Yeah. And I mean, so why did you choose JBay of all places to live, or have you moved here? Do you live here now? Do you live in Angola?
I'm a little bit confused about where I live.
That makes two of us.
A few bases around the place. So it's a very difficult question to answer. But for now, JBay is home. And I really love JBay because, well, first of all, you have this geographic phenomenon, which is the point of Jeffreys Bay, which is 5 or 6 waves that run perfectly, consistently. So that the surfing is a big attraction. But aside from the waves that you always see, there's also a lot of other lesser known waves. So there's always plenty of places to surf at various levels of expertise, from beginner right through to expert. So that's very interesting. The other interesting thing is we're kind of in the middle of nature. We're surrounded by a lot of nature. There's mountains just a short drive away. There's really interesting coastline going west. There's a completely different coastline going east. There's lots of hiking. There's lots of camping. It's very easy to get into nature quickly. And the final thing, the final reason why I find JBay interesting is it's a small town. And I guess with the changes in technology, it's suddenly become apparent how easy it is to do corporate work from anywhere really, including a small town. So that barrier is no longer there. So I'm really interested about the small town aspect of it.
And that's also, I mean, for me, when traveling the world, I also opt for, but I come from a small town originally, but I always choose a small town as well. But the trouble is, when they have co-working spaces, which they often don't, it's a cafe or someone's old office from the 80s. It has a terrible feel, and the Wi-Fi is about a 1 meg line. But here I came in, and it was like coming from startup worlds in Europe. It feels very much like this. It feels like you're co-working with a vision. Do you have one? Has it been mindful how you put this together?
I guess, I mean, my background, I did start work in a corporate environment in South Africa, the US, London, Luxembourg. And I guess there I got used to what people expect when they're working. They need to be able to work seamlessly, uninterrupted. Everything needs to work perfectly. And so from an infrastructure perspective, that's exactly what we're continuing to try and do. So the idea is that when you're in the co-working space, you could be in central London, you could be in New York, or wherever. It shouldn't make a difference that you're in a small town. That said, we're in a small town and we're a stone's throw from the beach, so quite a juxtaposition. You can, even though you're working in this perfect office, you can nip out at lunch for a quick swim and come back.
Which I've done before. Or a quick surf even, right?
Or a quick surf. There's a wave right out front here, which is quite fun. So that's the space itself. Our kind of basic standard is you shouldn't notice that you're in a small town.
But at the same time, and I think maybe an advantage of this is it has that same professional feel and what you would expect But something that when I go to a lot of really great co-working spaces that look very slick and designer and fancy, it's missing an energy, a feel about it. And the second you step foot into the green room, there's this great sense of community. It feels like I'm coming into Clio, where I work. It kind of feels like I'm coming into my own office with this familiarity and everyone's talking to each other, and there's a real sense of community. So how do you get that right? Yeah.
That's a very good question. We try, and having had some experience in these sort of spaces, we know that community is probably the most important thing, and making it possible to have those serendipitous interactions. So we try and create opportunities for that. At the same time, we have a lot of people from Jeffreys Bay working in the space. So it's a good balance of local Jeffreys Bay people and international people working here. And Jeffreys Bay people are very friendly.
Yes, they really are.
Particularly friendly. So yeah, everyone is very hospitable, and we try and create the opportunities for interaction if we want to do that. And the community has also been very accepting of and very welcoming to the concept. We haven't been here that long. We've been here for about a year and a half now. But the community has really warmed to the idea, and they love the idea of having new international people, sharing their stories, sharing the experience, and we really encourage that.
Oh, and it's really felt. I mean, that's something it's like a bit sad to leave, which is, normally I'm kind of happy to leave.
Sad to leave the office, Jason?
Yeah, I know, very lame. But maybe just so if you're not from JBA and you're actually looking to come to work in the green room, what are kind of some headline items that would be really important for you to know to be reassured that you can actually do well?
Headline items. Okay, I mean, so most important thing for everybody really is internet.
Yes.
Internet in a small town can often be iffy. It's our single most important priority. We've gone completely overboard in what we need, and we are relentless in making sure that it stays up, and it's getting. I mean, it's already super stable, fast enough to do everything you need to do, and so we have all of the backups and redundancies in place, so you can be confident that you're working in a space where the internet is going to be good enough to do what you need to do.
And Zoom calls, uploading big files, all of that's still fine.
Exactly, yeah. We have a lot of people who do live broadcasts
really?
on various platforms, and they're able to do it fine. I think it's a good test.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Then there's the other thing that'll happen when you arrive here. We've got a very active Slack channel. When you're looking for things to do or people to hang out with, everyone is always very quick to answer your question. Combined with, I mean, what we try and do actually is combine the concept of an office with the concept of a backpackers that you might find in a small town. You know, a backpackers is the kind of place where you can walk in, there's somebody working there who knows a lot about the area, knows what people are looking for. There's a bunch of notices and leaflets on the wall, and make it very easy to have a good experience and have a good time, whatever you're into. So we like to try and bring an element of that into the space, and I think you'll find it through various mediums that we use.
Yeah, and it's helped us a lot as well, having a guide and being able to just ask for little things. It's much quicker than also trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah. So a good starting point always. We're very responsive on our website, which is greenroomjda.com. So even if you're just thinking of coming, drop us a message, tell us what you have in mind or what you're interested in, and we'll always respond with a good place to start and some tips.
And then maybe just if you were to end it off with one tip for someone coming to JBA, like what's the one thing that's a hidden secret, or it's, I don't know, hasn't been super explored by other people, something that they should try that you've really enjoyed?
Well, wow, I mean, one of the secrets, and I didn't even realize this about Jeffreys Bay, is actually, it's much cheaper to live here than most places in South Africa. So that's a secret. But
like a lot cheaper than Cape Town, a lot cheaper than Beatenberg Bay, than Joburg. I've also noticed that with the restaurants and stuff. When you look at your bill at the end, you end up eating out far too often.
So that's a secret. Not many people know about it. I mean, the other thing that's so interesting is just wandering along the beach. As simple as that. There are nature reserves, and you should definitely get there on the weekend. But just wandering along the beach amongst the rock pools, they're still so full of life. You'll see different seaweeds, different shellfish, fish. You'll look out to sea, and there'll be almost every day dolphins, often whales. There's still so much life, even though you're in the middle of the town. If you just sort of slow down a little bit and have a look around you on the beach, it's remarkable what's going on in Jebe from a nature perspective.
It's really good advice. Thanks. And that's, I think, the one thing that Jabe's really helped me with is through a really high-paced, quite a high-stress role, of being able to slow down myself as well and have that healthy balance. So I'd like to thank you so much. It was lovely to do this with you and to be here. Thanks for hosting us.
Thank you, Jessie.
We'll be back.
Hope you come back soon.
You know we will.
I notice you're leaving your surfboard here.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
That gives me good confidence that we'll be returning soon.
Of course. I have to. It's a great board. All right.